So, good morning. Good morning. It is tea time and we are live. And today I am actually doing some soothing with my tea, guys. I'm drinking this morning's tea is chamomile mint, and this is Bigelow's chamomile mint. I actually drink quite a lot of Bigelow teas, right? And this particular one is helping my tummy because I have been having the best Christmas ever, right? And so I needed a little chamomile mint support today because my stomach, I don't know what I ate, and my stomach is just not happy with me. So I said, let me get the herbal, caffeine free that's gonna settle my tummy and make me feel nice. Yes. And so I just went and draw from a Bigelow chamomile mint. So that's what I'm having this morning. I don't know what you guys are having on your end, but it is tea time. So make sure you grab your tea, make sure you grab your coffee. I love a good cup of coffee in the morning too. One of the things that I actually do with my tea, guys, is I use saran wrap. I use cling wrap, like plastic cling wrap, and I cover my tea when I'm just putting the tea bag in the hot water to make it steep. And then it gets like, it does it really fast. All right. So that's the tea for today that we're drinking. And I'm going to pull an intention card in a minute because, we like to start with making sure that we're pulling an affirmation and just finding our feel good. So I have my affirmation cards here. This is actually the one that I pulled earlier this week. That's the card that I've had up on my desk for the week. And a tip for you guys, if you actually have affirmation cards, you just need a little stand. And I usually put the one that I'm using for the week. I usually just prop it up on my stand, right? And I just leave it there on my desk because I work from home, right? So I leave my affirmation card propped up on my desk on a stand, and it helps me when I come to my desk first thing in the morning. It just gets my mind just feeling calm and easy. So yeah, so get your tea, and if you have affirmation cards, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. If you're driving, you can listen and go on and everything, and no discrimination. We are going to be talking about something today where you might want to take some notes because I have paper. I'll have diagram, guys. I prepared for you today. I have diagram. Okay. So this morning we are going to be talking about the one thing that you need to do to make sure that your 2025 is a success. One thing. And I'm telling you guys, if you can figure this out, your entire life is going to change. I guarantee it. If you can figure this out, your entire life will change. Trust me on that. And I know because I figured it out and my life has been changing and it keeps changing. And every time I think it don't change, it just change some more. All right. So today we are talking about the one thing that you need to do that will make 2025 and every year after that one that is just filled with inner joy and success. That's what's going to happen. Guaranteed. And I have a way that you're going to figure it out. I have a way to help you figure it out. And then I'm going to tell you one of the big traps that a lot of people fall into, that even after you think you figure it out, you can still fall into this trap and then find yourself lost again. Okay. So I'm trust me, guys, if this one thing, if you can figure out this one thing and do it, then your 2025 is going to be off the charts. All right. I have examples and everything. So get your tea. I'm going to pull a card before we start, and then I'll get going. So how is everybody doing today? I see my TikTok audience over here. Hi guys, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Hi Charlie. Hi Sam. Great guys. Thanks for joining so much. All right. So here's my deck of cards. I'm gonna just pull a card and get us going. I just love to see it. Hi my YouTubers. I see you guys joining live. What's up? Hello. Awesome. All right. So we're gonna pull a card and then we're gonna get started. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. So today's card is I am resolute. I am resolute. Now you may be like, what that means, Stacey? What is resolute? What does that mean? And Stacey does not have her glasses, so she's going to have to do our best to read this for you guys. Okay. So the card for today is I am resolute. And let's read what the affirmation says. So the affirmation says, I place consistent effort towards living the life I desire and being relentless in the pursuit of my dreams. Oh, that is so good. I place consistent effort towards the life I desire and I am relentless in the pursuit of my dreams. So that's what resolute means, guys. Resolute means that you're not taking a check. You're literally like you're on this mission, and it is the sole thing that you are about in your life. You are focused on it. You are giving it your 150%. You're not taking no check from nobody. Nobody can come and tell you nothing about it. And if them tell you something and you doubt yourself for a minute, you're going to rally back because you are being resolute in consistency and in the relentless pursuit of the dreams that you have for your life. And I will tell you a little secret, guys, that this is actually a really good card for me because even showing up for tea time on a Saturday morning with you guys, I mean, it was a buck up thing. It was a buck up thing that happened. I was literally just talking about my Friday night on a Saturday morning, and then I kept doing that. And then once I went to the Beyonce concert, I was like, no, I need to come and talk about my week every week. But then it became more than that. It became, I can actually share about the intention cards that have made such a difference in my life. And I can share about all the mindset things that I have used to help me to find more joy in my life. And to create the dreams that I mean, because honestly, guys, I'm literally living a lot of my dreams right now. And I feel like sometimes, you know, especially when you're in Jamaica and you just see the hardness around you all the time, it kind of make it feel like you can't have what you see other people experiencing. You can't have that joy. You can't have the deep sense of satisfaction. And I decided, you know what? I am going to be relentless in pursuing my dream to share and to teach the different skills that you can use to actually make your life the life that you want. And I don't just want to be telling about the goals and the dreams, and that's not the way I want to do it. I kind of made up my mind that I want to talk about it in a way that as you are going after the dream, as you are on this journey, on your hero journey, because we're all on a journey, period, full stop, right? As you're on your hero journey, you're not doing it pop down. You're not tired of the pop down situation. You're not doing it with your back up against the wall every single minute of the day. Like, who wants to keep being on the struggle bus? This is 2025. It's time we decide that even if my bank account is red, I can't get no credit card because I don't have no credit, that you're not going to be miserable about your life until you can have that. It just doesn't add up. So I believe that as you're going for your goals and you're being mindful and you're doing all the different things, it don't matter who you follow and who help you with tips and whatever. Do not get stuck in misery while you're on the journey. Do not let people take away your joy from you while you are moving towards the life you want. Sit back and have a cup of tea and enjoy your day. Take a moment for yourself. Don't just be running around like a crazy person, going after your dream, going after your goal. Take time. Be easy with yourself. Love on yourself. Find joy while you are relentlessly pursuing your goals. All right. So enough lecturing. Let's get on with it. My gosh, I haven't even started the topic yet and I'm lecturing you guys. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about that one thing. This is the one thing that I guarantee is going to make a difference in your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to make you recognize why you're here. A lot of people are, oh, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? A lot of people have that issue. Last week when I was on Tea Time, one of my TikTokers wrote and said, not everybody can, that mindset stuff don't work for everybody. Some people, they just can't figure it out. Well, honey child, I'm here to tell you, you can figure it out, right? So you have what everybody else has. Everybody on this earth has life and breath within them, right? And once you have life and breath, that means that you can create all the things that you want to create in this life, no matter what your background is. So today I'm going to give you one of the secrets that I discovered, that you'll see a lot of people that you see out there that are like celebrities, and they are multi-millionaires and billionaires, and they seem like they have their life all together, they have all the nice things, or even if they don't look like, not showing and flossing the nice things, they just seem happy, right? And I'm going to share with you one of the things, the secrets that has created that for some people, and that makes it easy, if you can figure it out, easy for you to find your success zone and your joy zone and your wealth zone and your amplified energy zone, all of the good up zone. That's what we're about. Okay, so imagine doing something that energizes you. Like, it's something that when you're doing this thing, it feels like you're floating, or it feels like you're just full of excitement. Your insides just light up. Imagine doing something that it just feels like it's exactly what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And maybe it is that this is for you. Like, if you're a guy, maybe it's when you're on the football field, you're kicking around ball with your friends, or maybe when you're a guitar player, you're playing the guitar, or you're somebody that is constantly helping other people, like you're constantly teaching people how to do something. Or maybe it is that you're realizing that when you're doing this particular activity, time just seems to stop. You don't even realize how much time you're using. It's just kind of going, and you don't even realize that so much time has passed, because you're just so caught up, in a good way, caught up in this thing that you're doing. What I'm talking about is your zone of genius. It's that sweet spot where your passion actually meets your purpose. And for many of us, we don't know what that is. We literally are clueless about this zone. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I've talked about zone of genius a couple times. I actually think I talk about it at least once a year, whether it's on my podcast or on my Instagram or somewhere. I know I talk about the zone of genius, right? And so I thought, as I was going through my preparations for 2025, I was like, I need to bring back zone of genius. I need to bring back people thinking through, what gives them life, what makes them feel really good on the inside. By the way, I'm trying out this honey. You guys see how much I use honey, right? I use honey a lot, okay? Because I don't buy white sugar. Just an FYI, I don't even buy it, and I rarely use sugar at all. So, but my sweetener of choice is honey. And I notice that in the supermarket, when I go supermarket nowadays, them have all these different manufacturers, local Jamaican manufacturers, making different types of honey. So I'm trying this one. It's M&Ms. M&Ms. I don't know if I usually see them coconut water. I don't usually see honey, but I saw the honey and I said, let me try it. It's really pretty packaging. You can see the label is really nice. So I'm trying them out. It's been really good so far. Okay, maybe their zone of genius is making things from the earth, using nature to make stuff for us. So let's talk about this zone of genius, right? Because maybe it is that you've heard the term, or you've never heard it before. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm going to explain what it is, and then I'm going to help you figure out how to find it. All right. So you know how you will see these people out there, these artists, and they just look like what they're doing just comes so natural to them. When you look at a lot of performers, I don't think people that are really good at like singing and playing music, like playing the violin or piano, and it just come naturally to them. It's like they were born to do it. You see them and you listen to them, and you can tell that they're not trying, right? You can tell that it's like a magical experience you get swept away in, you know. And when you listen to certain artists, you can know that that is where they are, you know. And you see them and you're like, yeah, me I could be an artist, right? Because you see them out there and you think, say, yeah, me I could do that too. But you try, you have to try to do it. But then maybe in another area of your life, you don't have to try. You just show up and you just, for some people it's mechanics, then just put together a puzzle real easier that can just lift a somebody car breakdown and then can just look at it and say, oh, you try this and it fix. And it don't come like anything to you. But because it don't seem like it's a big deal, you just don't pay any attention. Because it just feel like, oh yeah, but just that's easy. You don't feel like it's something that you can actually do for a living and make money at, right? This is where you could be missing out on your genius zone. So the zone of genius concept actually came about this gentleman. He's actually a PhD named Guy Hendricks, and he wrote a book called The Big Leap. And the whole book was about moving from one way of living to like 10x, 10 times better than the way that you're living. And that's why they call it the Big Leap. And one of the things that they talked about in the Big Leap was these zones, because essentially what he was saying is that in order for you to really 10x your life, in order for you to live your life in a way that is so big and beyond anything you could have ever asked for or even imagined, in order for you to do that, you really have to step into your zone of genius. So he talks about 4 other zones and then explain when it's not your genius and all the things. But the main thing I want to talk about today is I want to help you to identify your zone of genius. Now you may be saying, Stacey, really though, you know, why does it matter? Like, why should I care about this zone of genius thing? Like, I work really hard right now and, you know, I'm making pretty good money. I'm all right. You know, things may not be exactly where I want them to be. And sometimes, you know, I'm going to get stressed out at work. I can't bother and whatever, but everything work out, right? Well, what if I said to you that working in your zone of genius leads to deep joy, fulfillment, and unmatched success? Meaning, no matter how hard you're grinding now and how much hours you're putting in and how much overtime and all of that, it does not compare to doing 20% of that in your zone of genius. Wouldn't you want to know how to find this zone and how to make sure that you can work in that zone? What is the real issue? I'll tell you. Society doesn't always reward us in the same way for our zone of genius, right? When you go to school, traditional school especially, you tend to learn more about the mathematics and the English and the things, which are important. Don't get me wrong, they're important. I learn them and they're important. Them help me every day, right? But you tend to learn about these things that don't necessarily light up your insides. You're not going to school and they're teaching you about the arts in a way that it feels like, you know, yeah, this is something that I want to do with my life. No, you might get a little art class here and there and they teach you about the brush, but you don't really get to tune into that. And sometimes, because this actually happened to my daughter, one of the schools that she was going to, it's almost like they made it seem like punishment to do the art class as opposed to a blessing to do the art class. And it was so many people that they're not really helping to focus in and hone in on that skill set, you know. And if you're not getting the maths right in a particular way, or if you're spelling not too right, then tell you say you don't, and you don't have no sense, and you're going to fail, and therefore, henceforth, you're not going to be a success. So it's not a situation where you're going to school and they're actively trying to help you to find this zone. And most jobs out there that are hiring the masses of people aren't necessarily focused on your genius. They're focused on meeting their targets the way they need to meet their targets. That's why you have so many entrepreneurs now, guys. You have so many entrepreneurs now because a lot of people, because of the power of the internet, have been able to connect to their zone of genius. Not everybody, some of them just working for make a money same way, but a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, content creators, the same people that you watch and follow on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, all of those persons are doing something. Some of them may be doing them in their zone of genius. It seems natural. It's authentic. You can see that they're being themselves. Okay? So I find that society on a general level rewards us for staying outside of the zone of genius. It rewards us for staying in what they call excellence, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. So stay tuned. It rewards us for staying in excellence. You know, the hard work, yeah, man, I can grind it out. I'm the mule, I can carry all of this load to the point where you pay me for carrying this load. Yes, it rewards you for excellence, but it doesn't necessarily reward you for genius. So how do I, Stacy, you're saying, Stacy, tell me, I'm convinced. I want to learn how I can access extraordinary wealth, how I can access unlimited success, how I can access inner joy and peace of mind and let go of the stress, the frustration, and the anxiety that typically goes along with striving and trying to get the work going. So I'm going to talk with you now about identifying your zone of genius. When you're thinking about your zone of genius, I want you to think about these three big buckets. And this is where you may want to get a piece of pen, a piece of paper, or if you have a journal, if you have a journal, right? Get your journal. I'll put a link to my journal in the chat, guys, so you can pick one up off of Amazon when you're ready. But get your pen, get your paper, and you're going to think about three big buckets, right? And you're going to draw three circles. We're going to think about a bucket. So what you're going to end up drawing looks like this. Okay? I'm going to actually redraw it so you can get it. All right? So the first circle that you're going to draw is going to be containing, so I just draw a circle, is going to contain what you're naturally good at, right? So what you're naturally good at, naturally. I'm not saying what you like to do, because you could like to sing in the shower, but you're not necessarily a great singer. I'm just saying it's not what you like to do. It's what you're naturally great at. And this is what I like to call the talent circle. So the talent circle, you just write talent at the top. And if you want to give yourself, say I wrote talent at the top, I wrote talent. And if you want to give yourself some notes, you put the question, what am I naturally, and underline naturally, good at? Question mark. What am I naturally good at? Okay. So that's the first circle. Talent goes in the middle, right, of the circle. So we have the sheet of paper, guys, sheet of paper. The next circle that you're going to draw is maybe you've learned a thing or two over your life. So if we're using the same singing example, right, we could talk about, maybe you actually learned how to do the runs and thing, or maybe you learn how to play an instrument, maybe you learn to play the guitar, maybe you learn how to read a line sheet, so I like to call that, what I am good at doing, where I have a skill set. And in that circle, I'm going to put skill. Okay. So skill is something that I'm good at. And this not have nothing to do with necessarily naturally. It could have been a skill that you learned, right? It could have been a skill that you learned. So write skill in this section here. And it could be something that you even take for granted, but hey, you never know. It could be a skill that you picked up accidentally and you don't know that you have it, but a skill, right? And it has to be a skill that you love, guys, something that you love to do, not something that make you feel stressed out and tired and okay? And when you're thinking about that, what I want you to pay attention to is when people are giving you feedback about something, maybe it's the area. There's a third area that people will give you feedback on, right? So this is the third area now that we're going to be looking at. So I'm drawing a third circle. I've drawn a third circle now. See, I draw a third circle, right? And in this circle, I'm going to put impact. And this is where people are always giving you really good feedback about it. See, their impact, okay? So this is the place where people are giving you that feedback. You hear people talking to you about whatever it is that you're doing. It could be random. It could have helped somebody just randomly, or you could have had a conversation with somebody randomly. And they're just like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. Your words have inspired me. And you're like, oh, okay. I didn't think about it like that. But you get what I'm saying? So this is now where people are giving you feedback. So for impact, the question that you want to write under impact is, what do people give me feedback about? Yeah, positive feedback, guys. What do people give me positive feedback about? Yeah? What do people give me positive feedback about? Okay? And I want to kind of go back to this, the skill question, because I think it's important also for us to talk about, when you have skill. So the skill is when I'm executing something, when I'm doing something, can ask yourself the question, what work do I love doing that makes time go by? It makes time seem like it's not work. Don't feel it's something that I do, it's a skill that I have where it doesn't feel like it's work, really. What work do I love doing that doesn't seem like work? Doesn't seem like work. Yeah. So what you should have when you're done, okay? And even if you're driving and you're not able to write immediately, okay, or think about this immediately, then as you're listening to this, I just want you to think about the three circles, okay? The three circles are talent, what you're just gifted with, you're born with it. Some people born with the ability to talk, like me. Everybody's born with the ability to talk, but when you speak in a particular way, people listen, yeah, and they learn something and they feel motivated or inspired or whatever. So talent, a natural talent that you were born with, whether it's musical ear, you can hear things, or maybe you're really good at smelling stuff. Never know. So talent, skill. A skill is something that you may have picked up, you've learned it, but it's something that when you're doing it, it just doesn't seem like work. You're just doing the thing, you're executing something, it just doesn't feel like work. You're just going, and the time goes, and oh my gosh, right? So you have a particular skill set, yeah, that just feels very easy to you. It feels very easy, no sweat off your back. You just do it, even if it's something that you learned or something that you picked up that you keep doing over and over. And then the final circle is impact. And the impact circle is what people give you feedback about. What do people say to you that says, oh my gosh, boy, I never thought of it that way. Or, whoa, when you play that instrument, it just sounds so good. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you could draw so well. Whoa, look at that painting. I'm so, moved by it. All right. Now, when you look at your paper, you're going to see where all three circles intersect. You're going to see where your talent, oops, talent, your talent, your skill, and your impact intersect. This area is your zone of genius. Where all three of those things intersect is your zone of genius. Now, I do not want you to be like, oh my gosh, Stacey, this is some scientific things, but I'm going to do calculations and metabolize information into more. No, it's not complicated at all. Really. It's just a couple of questions you have to ask yourself. I'm just using this diagram to explain the different points that have to intersect. So your talent, your skills, and your impact on others intersect in what is known as your zone of genius. Okay? So your zone of genius is where that sweet spot is that is going to allow you to live and experience unparalleled joy and success. So things that you want to ask, 3 questions, easy peasy questions that you want to ask yourself. What activities make time fly for me? What do others consistently praise me for? And what problems or challenges do I naturally gravitate towards solving? When you ask yourself those 3 questions, at some point, you're going to start to see a pattern arise. You may not even recognize that this could be a zone for you. For instance, if you are good at writing, right? Or expression, that self-expression through writing. And sometimes you'll write a note to somebody and they'll be like, boy, this was such a beautifully written note. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Or you'll spend hours just writing about something. You even might spend hours writing in your journal. This is an example of what may be your zone of genius. Possibly you could be somebody that could be writing books or articles or writing blogs and making a ton of money from it. Or if it's even something that could be done for a nonprofit, maybe you could write grants and help people to access money. Because I want to make it clear, guys, this is not always about getting to the money, even though that could be a nice sweet spot for you, right? You want to use your zone of genius to get paid. Nothing wrong with that. But more importantly, it's going to give you that inner conviction, that inner feeling that makes you keep going. Because whether you're operating in your zone of genius or not, you're going to come up on challenges. You're going to face difficulties or issues or hard times. But the difference is that when you're operating in your zone of genius, the moment you start to move, the moment you get into action, even when you're faced with challenges, it's like all of the challenges then just disappear because you just feel so good inside and you just feel like, say, yeah, this is my thing. You operate in that space without the stress, overwhelm, and burnout. I want to help you understand how you can, the biggest example of that I got this week. Is this week? Well, we Saturday, right? So on Sunday gone, the 29th of December, I went to the Grateful concert that Agent Sasko had, right? And it was up at Huey Bowl. I was actually in Montego Bay, spending some time away with my kids and driving back in like a bat out of hell, driving back in like crazy because I didn't want to be late for the concert, because one of the things was, we're not starting this concert late. We're starting on time because we don't want to be going until the crazy hours of the morning. You know how Jamaica concerts stay, right? They have talk about some 6 a.m. bell, some crazy thing like that. So Agent Sasko had made it clear, Grateful concert is going to start early because we don't want to be running too late. And, we want to observe all these different things that he has values around. No problem. So I'm driving back in from a bay, racing like crazy, trying to get back to town to be at this concert. When I reach on the highway, I start getting message, oh my gosh, it's pouring down rain in Kingston. I was like, pouring down rain? Is Huey Bowl inside or outside? Because I'd never been to Huey Bowl. This was my first time. And so I was like, it feels to me like most things in Jamaica are open air outside as opposed to being inside, except for arena. And I'm like, oh, I hope it don't rain out because I have VVIP tickets and I want to make sure I get the full experience. Let me tell y'all something. You see, by the time I reach Portmore side and the rain pellets start to come down, I was like, oh my gosh, concert wash where it now go happen. Same time, my daughter, she logging on to Instagram to see what is going on, la la la. Anyway, long story short, I end up going to the concert. I was dressed rain chic because them update the flyer. I said dress rain chic, put on your sneakers, your boots, your thing, make sure you have your umbrella or your hat or your rain tape. So I dressed up rain chic, have on my shorts and my fishnet stockings and my silver sneakers. Yes, that was my rain chic. But I had on a long sleeve mock neck with with a denim oversized jacket, and I had my hat. End up leave the hat. Had my umbrella. Decided to yes, all right, grateful concert. Well, go. Rain start to ease up, light drizzle. I was like, yes. It started late, guys, because of the rain. Do you believe that people was cussing say it's starting late because of the rain? On the Instagram, you see people cussing about stuff starting. Anyway, reach now. VVIP, them tell me say no more parking. No, honey boo, no. These tickets were not cheap. We parking in the VVIP. Oh, only room leave for artists. I said, do I need to start singing? Because clearly I'm gonna be an artist tonight. Y'all gonna let me back there in the VVIP to park because what was happening is that because of the rain, there was so much mud and water that they lost parking spaces, but they weren't explaining that to people at the gate. That would have been helpful to explain, boy, it messy because of the rain. And anyway, we went ahead and parked. It's by the time we park and walk inside, the rain started to come down again. And this is now, I think, after 9, something like that, right? Concert's supposed to start 7. This is now after 9, going into the 10 o'clock bells. And when I tell you a piece of rain, when I say it was like a baby hurricane, tsunami coming, it was raining from the heavens above. And I was like, there is no way that I am coming to this concert and it's going to rain out and I leave. I said, somebody is going to have to sing me a tune tonight. Now, what was good is that there was actual singing still happening on the stage. You had artists out there and they were singing in the rain, literally singing in the rain, people, okay? And so that was encouraging. So now, round at the back now, in the backstage VVIP area, there were just a bunch of tents. Nobody was walking around because, of course, it's pouring, right? And so me and Honey Boo now have to find a spot to stand up and hopefully, so Honey Boo was like, well, what do you want to do? Because me start call for where my friends are. A couple people said them was leaving, etc. I was like, well, we're going to wait for at least 30 minutes because I want to see how this unfold. I was like, my gosh, if me even hear Sass sing one song, can I tell you guys that the entire rain situation did not deter the fans. And the reason they did not deter the fans is because I believe that Agent Sasco is operating in his zone of genius. His gift for singing, but singing or even DJing, like the dancehall, whether it's the singing or the DJing, is for bringing a message that reaches the hearts of people in a way that no other artist can do it. It's like him having Agent Sasco stamp, unique fingerprint on that way to deliver a message. And because it was such a powerful zone for him to be operating in, his fans, myself included, stood outside in the rain with umbrella, waiting for him to come on the stage. Now, what I loved about it is that he went on earlier than planned, right? So that he could now start to actually bring on people and get the vibes going at a different level. Because, I mean, yes, you have other artists that would have been performing, but people went there to see him, right? That is who we were ultimately grateful to be able to see. And so when Agent Sasco went on, rain was still falling and people were there with their umbrellas. Put up your umbrella in the ear, put your umbrella in the ear. I mean, it was just such a vibe and an energy. I mean, tears would have come to anybody's eyes to see how committed and dedicated his fans were. And the reason, again, I kid you not, is because he's operating in his zone of genius. I honestly believe that if any other artists out there that don't really connect with them people like that, them would leave, them wouldn't bother stay. If you're trying and the music kind of good, but not so really. But you have a live band that is playing in the background, and you have this artist that has clearly poured so much into the community and touched so many people's hearts that they're willing to stand up in a baby tsunami, hurricane kind of situation in order for watch him perform. And when the rain continued, we would sing and dance, and then the rain stopped. And I mean, the vibes, they just nice. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you were heading home. And the concert was, I mean, I don't know if they make one bag of money, but I can tell you that it was a success from where I sat. And I know that is because it was operating in zone of genius. So when I say to you that your zone of genius should not be confused with your zone of excellence, because if it was not a zone of genius situation, he would have canceled the concert. If it was just an area where, yes, it's some work, whatever, we can just say, yeah, concert cancel. But no, the zone of genius within him make him go out on the stage and sing and dance in a way and DJ in a way that make the facts of the rain and fall is like just glory from heaven above. Manna a come down. That's literally what it was like. Okay? Because he was operating in his zone. So maybe, if we're not looking at the creative side, right? Maybe you're an amazing project manager, right? And you go to work and you're doing your grinding. Maybe you're an amazing lawyer. You go and you're doing all the files, and everybody wants to run and come to you because you get all of the people that the criminal them off. You're doing the thing, but you work extraordinary hours. You're stressed out. You're burnt out. You're constantly anxious, in overwhelm. That is not a genius zone. That's an excellence zone. And many people get it confused because they feel like, well, I get paid very well for it, and when I'm doing it, I know what I'm doing, and I do it better than other people. So you can be in an excellence zone and think it's a genius. But the difference, guys, is that in your genius zone, you actually have to be careful that you're burning yourself up because you're not getting a rest and you're just not paying attention to it, because it just feels good. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like you have to press and push. You're not complaining about making the effort to get the things done. It just kind of flow through you. So you want to challenge yourself. Are you living in your zone of excellence because it's safe? Because say, yeah, you can write the brief and you can make the money, because say, I can move this widget from here so to there, so, and I'm going to give me a check because I have on the golden handcuffs? Or are you ready to take that leap into your genius? Are you ready to explore the possibility of what magic you can create by stepping into your zone? Now, I'm going to tell you what happens when you ignore your zone of genius. You feel drained. You feel frustrated. You feel stuck. Everything is a complaint. You need somebody to pump you up in order to get you going. The alarm clock go off and you have to snooze 10 times because you just can't get up. Oh my gosh, right? I want to share an example of myself with you guys, because I have spent many years ignoring my zone of genius. So this that I'm doing right here, this is my genius zone. I know it, hands down. Nobody don't have to tell me. I don't need no validation. This is my feel-good space. I could do this every single day. Speaking, teaching, writing, sharing, anything that is related to just living a better life and amplifying your life, amplifying your voice, supporting you in your purpose. This is my zone. My zone is teaching, but teaching in a way that inspires others to move or to act. All right. Now, I'm a techie. My background is tech. I went to school for technology. I did my master's in technology. I used to teach technology. I'm in it from little girl till now. Okay. And tech makes a lot of money. Period. Full stop. Y'all on it. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Google, You own the stuff. So you know it makes a lot, tech makes a lot of money. And I got 3 kids. And I went through a divorce and a husband that's not, an ex-husband that's not there. You know, like I have all of these different things in my life that make that zone of excellence really attractive to just be sitting there. I get paid well, and you know, it's done well for me and my family for a long time, and I'm really good at it. Like nobody does what I do the way I do it in tech. All right. But can I tell you that the higher I've gotten in technology, when I got to C-suite and I'm chief this and chief that, is the more foolishness and stress I have to deal with, and is the more frustration and stuckness I feel, as opposed to the freedom and joy, I mean, that I feel when I'm sitting here talking to my camera. I don't even need nobody else to talk to, you know. Like I see you guys on, I see that, you know, I have people watching, but I literally don't need people to talk to. I could be sat here teaching this stuff to the camera, just trusting that it will land in front of somebody someday. And it's taken me, I started doing this in, you know, like speaking engagements and stuff like that. I started doing it maybe 7 years ago, right? And in the 7 year time frame, I've always worked full time. I've always had my tech gig. I used to be in corporate before I started my own company, Epic Transformation. Hey, shout out. Um, and what is true, guys, is that for the last 3 years, can't believe it's 3 years I'm going into now as an entrepreneur, I have felt this constant back and forth pull between the mindset transformation side of my business, which is this work, and the digital transformation side of my business, which is the business work. To the point now where even the digital transformation side, I'm going to switch it to teaching. I'm going to switch it to teaching because that's where I feel the most joy when I'm sat inside of companies with leaders who really are just needing the teaching themselves, who really need that leadership development work and need that conscious leadership work. It just makes me want to go back into teaching. It doesn't make me want to do that digital transformation stuff. You understand? And it took me 3 years to really decide that this is my first priority. No matter what it costs me, this is my first priority. My first priority is speaking, teaching to inspire towards action, and in a way that is going to make people joyful on the journey, take away the suffering, so that they don't have to end up stressed, sick, and toxic, cancer, divorce, depression like me. That's what I went through. And sometimes I feel like even my journey going through that mess and that stress and that pressure was to ultimately give me ammunition to have these conversations with you guys. And I don't think I needed the ammunition. Like I'm saying, you know, I don't need no more ammunition. I got enough ammunition. I have enough ammunition, right? But having that extra little challenge and hardship that I've had to come through and had to redesign my life has made it much easier for me to come and pull on examples. I have tons of examples because I have lived this hot mess life. And I know what it means to suffer, and I know what it means to struggle. And so when I bring the message to you, it's because I understand you. I was not born with a gold or a silver spoon in my mouth. And so to be able to pour into other people through these mediums, which the same technology allows for, is like a gift from me. It made me feel so good every Saturday morning. You don't understand, guys. It takes a commitment to get up on a Saturday morning at 7 to prepare and to come on and make sure that I make sense when I'm talking to you. Sometimes I don't even finish the tea. Actually, the tea is still whole heap of tea because I'm just a chat. Anyway, I was just using that as an example to say that all this time that I was ignoring my zone of genius, when I really finally discovered it 7 years ago, it's just cost me a lot of momentum in areas where I could be garnering more success. So I don't want that for you. I want you to spend the time exploring. I want you to spend some time in this month of January, doing this work, figure out where exactly it is that you feel talent pouring through you, right? Figure out where you feel that skills come to you naturally and you're doing the work and it just feel like time is just, and it don't matter. You're in this vacuum, it just feels so good when you're in it. And then think about where people give you feedback. Sometimes it's easiest to start in the impact circle. What do people tell me that I'm good at all the time that I don't give credit? Maybe I just sometimes I will be combing my little sister's hair, or I'll be twisting somebody's dreads, or maybe I'm over here and I give my brethren's haircut at my house, and them always say, man, you should open my shop, because boy, it's such a good thing there, but you're such a, you shape up my hair nice, but you're like, barber don't make no money. Let me tell you something. If you are a barber operating in your zone of genius, you can be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. So think about the questions, guys, that I shared earlier. And I want you to use the questions to help you to stay in your zone. I'm going to remind you of the questions again. First question you want to ask yourself: what activities make time fly for you? What activities make time fly by? What do others consistently praise you for? What problems or challenges do you naturally gravitate towards solving? Like, what are the things that people come to you and say, hey, you can help me with this or that because you did do it for me one time and it was so good? It can be anything. Do not limit yourself. And I want you to write down this acronym, G.E.N.I.U.S. G.E.N.I.U.S is the acronym. The G is for get clear. Identify your genius zone by using the 3-circle exercise, asking yourself the question. E, energize yourself. Focus on the things that uplift you from the inside. N, nurture that part of yourself. Develop your genius. Don't just ignore it. If you find that you're good at something, go ahead and learn about it some more. I, be intentional. Schedule time to practice whatever it is you're practicing with your genius. You, understand resistance. Resistance is going to come. Challenges are going to come. You're going to get fearful. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to say, Stacey, tell me about this genius thing. I know I'm gone off, gone with it, I know me not. You're going to get those, but you have to understand the resistance is just another way that your brain is trying to protect you from the potential of failure. And then S, share. Let the world benefit from your genius. So many of you are not doing this impact work. So many of you are sat on your genius, sat on your purpose, and somebody out there in the world is waiting for you to share it. Every single time I think that I'm not going to the tea time, or I'm not going to share my intention cards, or I'm not going to put out my journal, or I'm not going to create something new because somebody, every single time I do it, somebody comes along and says to me, I watch tea time and I don't maybe see it live, but I will watch the replay and I love it. Make 2025 your year of genius, guys. Make 2025 your year of genius. I promise you, you will not regret it. Now, if you want to spend more time with me working on your habits and things that you need to get your genius going, then you definitely want to join my 21-day challenge. It starts on Monday, but you can join anytime. I'm going to be spending 21 days making sure that you are doing all the things to train your brain to have an amazing, unforgettable, enjoyable, unprecedented 2025. So thanks so much for joining, guys. It was my absolute pleasure sharing this time with you today on Tea Time. See you next week, Saturday, where we will talk more about how you are going to keep growing and glowing while you are at it. Take care, everybody. Until next time. Bye.